And welcome back to Strength, Strategy, and Mindset. This is day number 84. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for Endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. And we are moving by a yard here with some dogs. So let me actually go across the street. But we are, as you know, moving through the process of just working on improving our metabolism. And this week we're concentrating on walking, which is part of our MOVE campaign. Remember, metabolic optimization via exercise. And the idea is that one of the most difficult things that we face is this pandemic that we have of chronic diseases. Chronic diseases being those things like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, obesity, fatty liver, all the things that go along with the modern life, as they say. And dysfunctional metabolism is the thing that is driving all of this, and underlying that is our insulin or hyperinsulinemia. I was going to say insulin resistance, but I think a better term for that is hyperinsulinemia, meaning that my body is producing too much insulin. Now, this idea of insulin resistance goes along with what we call our lock and key model of insulin and diabetes. And so the idea there is that your insulin is the key that opens the door, which is the cell, and it allows sugar to go into that door. And because there's a problem with the key or the lock, the door can't open, and so blood sugar is kind of floating around in your blood. That's the lock and key model. It works to a certain extent, but it falls apart in some instances, and so hyperinsulinemia is a better term, which means that for some reason the body's producing too much insulin, for whatever reason, whether that is that our weight goes up and the body has to produce more to keep the blood sugars normal, or the weight goes up and the body's producing more and so the cells become less compliant, or there's something in the cell that's preventing the sugar from going in. Whatever the reason, we end up with too much insulin in the body, and it's the too much insulin that causes the dysfunction in our metabolism. Now, to be sure that high blood sugar itself causes damage. So high blood sugar causes problems for nerves. High blood sugar causes problems for our GI tract, gastroparesis, for example. High blood sugar causes problems for lots of different things in the body, but it is the hyperinsulinemia that is really at the crux of our metabolic dysfunction. And so our goal at every turn is, how do we get the metabolism working right? And how do we begin decreasing the thing that is at the crux of it, and that is the elevated insulin? And so the metabolic optimization, that phrase, metabolic, meaning how the body uses food to get energy, that's what metabolism is. Metabolic optimization, meaning how do we get this to work better, by exercise. And so exercise is an amazing process that does a lot of different things. It has a lot of different components to it, and how it gets our bodies righted or regulated again. And we've been using two components right now: strength training and walking. And the strength training, of course, we've talked about the GLUT4 transporters that are expressed in the metabolically active muscles that then suck up sugar without having to use insulin. And if that's the case, then we get insulin to become more sensitive. So the amount of insulin that our body's making at that one time is appropriate for what the blood sugars are. So that's one of the ideas. With walking also helps to burn calories. So when we're walking, we're burning calories. When we're walking, those muscles are becoming active. When we're walking, we're lowering blood sugar. When that happens, if the blood sugar is going down, if our muscles are becoming more metabolically active, then the insulin that we have is appropriate for the level of blood sugar. You see how that works? And so our goal is at every turn, once again, to get the metabolism righted, and walking is an amazing way to do that. Now this week we've been concentrating on walking because I want to remind you that as we are doing strength training, that walking is not a thing where we say, oh my goodness, we've done that. We did the 100-day walk to consistency and health, and now we're in strength training, and so we're going to shift over. We're going to forget about that over there, and we're going to do put all of our energies here. Now, as we've done strength training, right, our strength strategy and mindset, remember that one of the goals is to do the routines over and over and over and over again. We tweaked them, we adjusted our holds, we adjusted the reps, we adjusted the weights, we adjusted the sets, and all of that was with the idea of getting you used to doing it, becoming consistent, just like we did the walking. And so that is still a case, still something that we're doing, but we want to emphasize again that walking is a component of that MOVE campaign, and we're not going to forget about it. Now, if you are new to our community and you are showing up on our YouTube channel, there are a lot of things that you will find on the channel. And just to kind of give you a little orientation, you will find two playlists there. One says Start Here, and that gets you started on the process that we are using, the journey that we're on, if you will. A curated list of videos that are there that helps to walk you through. If I wanted to get started, if I wanted to jump in, if I want to get my metabolism moving in the right direction, where do I start? So that's the Start Here. That's that playlist. It says Start Here, reverse your diabetes, and reclaim your health with Dr. Dwain Woode. One of the things I want to say is that reverse your diabetes, don't let that trick you, don't let that fool you, because just because it says reversing diabetes, the things that we do to reverse diabetes also help to right our metabolism and get us in the direction of dealing with our metabolic diseases. So just make sure that you remember that. And then the second playlist that you'll see is one that says this week's videos. And so if you're coming and you want to know what's going on this week, what are they working on? What's the topic for this week? What's been happening in the community? That is where you will find that one. And that also helps you get a quick start for this week. There's a free download, a PDF that you can download. It's in the description of the playlist, the Start Here playlist, and it's called the Start Here, the Start Guide. And it does a good job of tying the videos together into categories, so you know, okay, when I finish this group of videos, this is what I'm supposed to learn, and it kind of walks you through that process. So make sure that you get over there. Lots of other things that are going on. We have, of course, the videos from our 100-day walk to consistency. We have the videos for our strength strategy and mindset. We have the videos that were part of the Bridge to Mastery, which happened between the 100-day walk to consistency and this series. Make sure you go through and watch that. That talks about self-efficacy and what that means, and how we go about applying that, and how we go about understanding what that means for our health. Our shows, the flagship show, which is Dwain Woode MD Live, comes on every Monday. That is where we set the tone for the week. That's where we do our teaching, our main teaching, and get us jumped off for the rest of the week as we talk about various topics. And then, of course, we have our check-ins, our pop-up lives. And if you're not part of the community, if you've not joined our community, make sure you join that. Should be a button down there somewhere that says join. And that allows you, for example, here in just a little while, I'm going to, when I'm finished with this, we have our community meetup that's going to happen. And so I will jump on and we will get a chance to hang out with our community members that are part of our membership. So join that as well. lots of different things going on, and you should see our accelerator showing up pretty soon. There'll be another opportunity for you to go deeper and to get additional benefit as you are working on your health. All right, so with all that said, this week, our theme, and then for the next several weeks actually, play your own game, play your own game. And walking is a perfect place for us to have that discussion. So play your own game means that I am designing for myself, using the tools that I have, using the knowledge that I have, and using what are considered to be the goals for my health. I am designing a play, if you will, that suits where I am, that suits my lifestyle, but gets me the benefits that I am looking for. So I want to jump to the last part of that before we come back and talk about the first part. Notice the benefits have to be benefits that are consistent with better health and long life. So if you are doing something, and I'm going to go across the street because they're mowing. So if you are doing something that is not getting you benefit, then either, okay, and so we got the sprinklers coming on this side. So if you're doing something that's not getting you benefit, then you can't keep doing that. I hope that makes sense. I'm gonna pause here for a little bit, hold on. All right, just wanted to get past the, of course, as soon as I say that, another one starts up. But if you're not getting benefit, you can't stay where you are, or you can't keep doing what you're doing because something is not working, something is not taking you in the direction you need to go. I hope that makes sense. But the idea is not that we are throwing out and trashing and rebelling, going off the grid for our health. There are still standards, there are still things that we look at to see whether we are improving our metabolism. And a lot of those are still the goalposts. Those are still some of the things that we've got to pay attention to. So we're not saying you could just get to do whatever you want and come what may is what it is. No, there are some actual factual things that we have to achieve in our metabolism. And when we design our own game, when we're playing our own game, we don't get rid of those. Those are incorporated into what we do. All right, so walking. Walking is a perfect place to begin this idea of playing your own game, because walking is the first pillar that we talked about in our Limitless Living Health Action Plan. It is simple, it is free, it can be done in lots of different places, lots of different ways, lots of different times. You can design a walking regimen that fits your lifestyle. You can design a walking schedule that fits your lifestyle. You can design a walking regimen that is fun, that gives you super benefits. One of the things that we talked about when we started the Strength Strategy and Mindset was that time under tension. And so when we're walking, we can add additional tension to what we're doing. Right? We can put on weights and walk around the house. We can put on a weighted jacket and walk around. We can walk fast. As I mentioned, I think in our episode yesterday, that I'm walking right now, and I'm walking a little faster, so I'm a little more winded than I was yesterday. But I can walk, and I can have a more leisurely walk. I can walk and have a faster walk. I can walk with a community We can have for instance, when we did our 100-day walk to consistency, right? We were walking in community, so we can do that. And walking can really be tailored to my way of doing things. Now, when we talked about walking, if you recall, and if you've watched our episodes on walking as part of the Health Action Plan, you recall we said that, a beginner is 5,000 steps. Someone who is a intermediate is from 5,000 to 8,000. Someone who's pre-professional is from 8,000 to 10,000. And then someone who's professional is up to 15,000 or more. And so you can set the targets to where you want to be and where you are at this moment. So as we talk about 15,000 steps, our goal is to get there. But at this moment, this time right now, you may not be able to get there for various reasons. It is not designed to beat you over the head, to say, well, you bad person because you're not getting those steps. Now the goal is to get there. So if you're doing something and you're not able to get there, the question then becomes why? And we get to figure that out. And if you are unable to, that's nothing, there's no shame in that. But you have got to play your game. Often, well, let me go back. Why do people not play their own game? One, because there's guilt, there's shame. Two, because there's doubt that it's going to work. Three, because they're comparing themselves to other people. Four, because they just never understood really where that tool fit in to their life and how it can help them. So those are several reasons why people don't play their own game. And so Limitless Living says that I can't continue working in that manner. I have got to learn about the things I'm using. I've got to learn about the tools. I've got to learn what it means and what walking does for my body. And if I don't do that, then I am not living a limitless life. And I'm really not playing my own game. I'm just relying on other people and relying on their game. And so when something happens that frustrates me, it's easier for me to turn around because it's not my game anyway. It's somebody else's. But you get to decide. One of the things that you'll remember when we did our strength, strategy, and mindset, the 100-day walk to consistency and health, you'll recall that I had to find a time that worked for me. Well, there were two things I was dealing with. One, I was dealing with the fact that my schedule had to be adjusted if I was going to be successful in my walk, in creating a space for walking. Two, I had to find a time that was conducive for videotaping. And there were times when I walked twice because I went walking and the light was not conducive for videotaping, and so I ended up having to go walk again. Right? So I had to create for myself an environment. For strength, strategy, and mindset, I didn't have a space at home to do this, but I knew I did not have the schedule that would allow me to go to the gym. And so how do I still do what I need to do, metabolic optimization via exercise? How do I still do that and still honor where I am in terms of my schedule, in terms of my house, in terms of my family? And the best option for me was to negotiate with my wife to say, hey, love, can I take over a part of the sunroom? And she graciously allowed me to do that. And when we do our strength, strategy, and mindset, that's where I am. I'm in the sunroom. Notice that's me. That's my game. That is not me forcing myself to go to the gym. Now, if a gym works for you, and I have to pause for a minute, I see some folks up here doing some things. So that's not me forcing myself to go to the gym come hell or high water. Now, going to the gym may work for you. And if it does, then staying home is not your game, right? Because I have people say, oh, my friend, he does this at home, and I'm trying to do my at home. Well, guess what? His motivation is a little different from yours initially, and his structure is a little different from yours. So you've got to play your game. So your game may require you to go to the gym, require you to get a membership, require you to whatever it is. But is it your game? You've got to evaluate whether it's your game or not. And so for me, the walking, we had to make that change. The strength, strategy, and mindset, we had to go out and we had to set the area up. We had to get the weights. We had to get a schedule. And my workout area, the sunroom, is right outside where my bedroom is. And so had to negotiate with my wife about timing, right? Because if I'm doing this at night, I have lights and the lights are bright. Or if I'm doing it early in the morning, there are lights and it's bright. And so we had to negotiate. And so playing my game didn't mean just, putting my head down and bullying through everything. I had to negotiate with some folks around me to say, hey, this is what we're gonna do. My son and I, we work out, right? We work out 3 times a week. I work out 7 times a week. And so I had to realize that the days when I work out with him, I'm working out twice because I'm doing the video for this series and it's time for us to work out together. So I had to fit what I was doing into my life, and that is playing your own game. Nobody knows your life like you. Nobody's able to anticipate or estimate the impact in your relationships and your schedule. You can do that. You have to do that. And you have to learn how to do that. When we did our 100-day walk to consistency, we went through the pillars or the keystone principles. And one of them was organizing, learning how to organize, learning how to plan, learning how to set goals. Go back and watch that series, because those are the things that we have to apply if we're going to play our own game. Now, we'll talk more about those types of things as we continue in the series, Play Your Own Game. But just to give you a teaser, give you an understanding, give you an idea of what it really means to play your own game. It doesn't mean, throwing everything out. It doesn't mean rebelling. It doesn't mean blame and finger pointing. It means I'm taking personal responsibility. That's what limitless living is. I'm taking personal responsibility for myself and for the places that I end up. And the Bridge to Mastery was all about self-efficacy the last time we did it. And it was with the idea that I get to chart my destiny. I get to chart my success. And this is based on evidence. It's not based on my thinking or not my thinking, but my imagination. It's based on history. That based on what I've seen in the past, based on the successes I've seen in the past, based on the evidence that I've generated, I know that if I make the right decisions and if I have a behavior that's aligned and I'm consistent, I will get success. I want you to listen to that. Did you hear that? So self-efficacy says that based on history, I believe, I have evidence that my consistency, my decisions, and my choices will give me success. And that's how play your own game shows up in your life. It shows up because I have made a decision. And the decision is, this is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to roll. This is who I am. This is not just some fly-by-night thing that I'm doing. I am designing the person that I want to be going forward. And if I do that, if I am consistent with it, I'm going to get those benefits. And that's the beauty of limitless living and this engine that drives it, this idea of playing your own game. right? What does it say? Is that I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna show up. Not just showing up. I'm showing up with the best self, my best health, and my best plans. We talked about yesterday showing up just like you are. You don't have to go get better to show up. You show up with what you have in hand, and when you come, when you show up, what you're doing is you are learning and you are growing. You're expanding. You're becoming better, more resilient, more less reliant on motivation, and more reliant on the structures that you've built. Man, can you imagine what it's like to not be pushed around, thrown around by whatever feeling that's coming over me at the moment? How many times have you said, well, I'm not going to do such and such, and you begin feeling a certain way, and you end up doing that? That's not what you planned, but it happened because the feelings came, and the feelings changed motivation. And remember, motivation is a great place to start for that fire. You want to sprint? Oh yeah, get me some motivation. But if you're doing that long haul, if you're doing that long run, oh yeah, motivation is not the one. You got to have some plans. You got to have some structure. You got to have a strategy for that, which is what I love. Sometimes I'm watching a race, and I'll see a runner, and they'll start off, and this is not a sprint, by the way, and 400 yards, and they're running, right? So a marathon or something, and you see one runner, and they take off, boom, they're gone, and they're running as fast as they can. And you see somebody else just taking their time, and they're keeping some good pace, but they're not all out sprinting, because they've developed a plan. They're playing their game. And how many times have you seen that runner now coming down that last stretch, and the other one they are exhausted, oh man, and they're trying to pull out, they're trying to push in, they're trying to get that last piece of whatever. And then the person that was back there just kind of trotting along, right, doing their thing, right, they're going. And then that last 100 yards, boom. Why? Because they were playing their own game. And so that's your goal, is to play your own game. Not to play somebody else's game, not to play the oh, but woe is me game, not the oh, how bad I am game, not the oh, how shameful I am game, not the oh, this is that other person's fault game, but we're doing a game, we're playing the game that is consistent for us, we're playing the game that gives us success, because it has to give us success, and we're playing the game that fits into where we are in terms of our lives and in terms of our goals. So rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. The tenure of your life. What is your North Star? Where am I going? What do I want to do? Are the behaviors I have and the decisions I make, are they consistent with that? Are they aligned? And then do I have structure that's going to keep me going and keep me heading in the direction I need to go for success? So rhythm, alignment, and structure. So play your own game. Play your own game. Play it with earnestness. Play it with all the motivation you have, sure. Play it with your vision, but play your game. And if you're going to play your game, you've got to learn some things. If you're going to play your game, you can't allow other people to make changes for you. You can't allow other people to dictate what you do. And after all, that's what limitless living says, right? So I'm showing up with my best self. I'm not allowing anything from outside or anything from inside to prevent me from doing what I need to do. I am showing up with my best self, with my best health, and with my best plans. If I do that, then I will be successful, because my efficacy, my self-efficacy says that I, based on history, based on evidence, believe that my choices, my behavior, and my consistency gives me benefit. Yeah. I'm glad you're here. Day number 84. 84 times you've done, 84 times you've shown up, 84 times you've pushed through, and 84 times you say, I'm going to do what I need to do to be successful. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. Now go live a limitless life, and we'll see you tomorrow for day number 85 of Strength, Strategy, and Mindset.